If you've clicked on this video, it probably means that you're interested in following a vegan diet during your pregnancy. And I realize that this can be a controversial topic at times, especially since the stories that make the news about vegan moms and vegan babies aren't the most positive ones. But as a registered dietitian, I can assure you that a vegan diet, when done right, can be absolutely appropriate for all life stages, including pregnancy. It's just a matter of knowing what you're doing. So in my last video, I addressed how pregnancy changes your calorie, protein, fat, and carb needs. So if you have missed that video, make sure to check it out. And in this video, I'll be addressing the 8 nutrients you should be most mindful of as a vegan mama-to-be. And by the end of the video, you'll know exactly which foods to eat to make sure that you meet both your and your baby's nutrient needs. One of the nutrients most talked about during pregnancy is folate, which is a B vitamin important for growth and for the development of DNA. Now, getting enough folate is especially important in the months leading up to pregnancy as well as in your first trimester because it can help reduce the risk of birth defects of the spine, brain, and spinal cord. That's why a lot of mamas that are planning on getting pregnant are often recommended to make sure that they get at least 400 micrograms of folate, either from foods or from a supplement, in the months leading up to pregnancy. And once you're pregnant, this recommendation shoots up to 600 micrograms of folate per day. The good thing is that there's a lot of folate-rich foods on a plant-based diet. They include beans, leafy greens, oranges, and whole grains, so it's worth making sure that you include these to your daily menu. Some countries also supplement their white flour with folic acid, which is the supplement form of folate. However, white flour is less nutrient-dense than whole wheat flour, so I wouldn't recommend relying on it as your major source of this nutrient. Research shows that vegans tend to have higher folate intakes than non-vegans, but that said, birth defects can have lasting negative effects on your little one. So unless you're sure that you're consistently getting enough folate through your diet alone, I'd recommend considering taking a folic acid supplement, starting from at least 2 to 3 months before you're trying to get pregnant. Iron is a mineral important for the development of the brain and nervous system, and getting enough during pregnancy is especially important because it may help lead to better birth weights and reduce the risk of preterm births. Many plant foods are rich in iron, and they include beans, lentils, soy foods, whole grains, nuts, seeds, as well as dried fruit and leafy greens. However, the type of iron in these plant foods is generally difficult for our bodies to absorb, and that's why the recommendation shoots up from 27 milligrams per day for non-vegan pregnant mamas to a whopping 45 milligrams per day for vegan moms-to-be, which is really a hard feat to achieve. You can help your body boost its absorption of iron by combining iron-rich plant foods with foods rich in vitamin C, or by avoiding drinking tea or coffee with your meals, as well as by cooking with a cast iron pan. But in truth, many pregnant women will fail to meet their iron requirements, whether vegan or not. So that's why I recommend that you get your iron levels checked in the beginning of your pregnancy, as well as somewhere around the end of the second trimester. You can ask your healthcare provider, doctor, or midwife to check your hemoglobin and your ferritin levels to determine whether an iron supplement might be a good idea for you. Zinc is another nutrient that many pregnant women fail to get enough of, whether following a vegan diet or not. And it's a nutrient important for cell replication and differentiation, which are 2 processes instrumental to growing a healthy baby. Getting too little zinc during pregnancy can also lead to preterm birth, low birth weights, or prolonged labor, which not many moms that I know would have liked. To meet the recommended 11 milligrams of zinc per day, make sure to add plenty of zinc-rich foods such as wheat germ, legumes, whole grains, nuts, and seeds to your diet. Iodine is an essential component of your thyroid hormones, and it also helps in the growth and development of your baby's brain and nervous system. Getting too much iodine or too little can both be harmful for you and your baby. Now, you can find iodine in all plant foods because they all get it from the soil that they're grown in. However, it's difficult to know whether the soils that the plants grow in contain enough iodine, which makes it difficult to know if you're getting enough iodine from consuming plant foods alone. You can also get iodine from iodized salt and seaweed. However, you'd have to consume more than 2 grams of iodized salt per day to meet your requirements, which ends up being more salt than typically recommended. As for seaweed, the amount of iodine it contains can vary up to 6-fold. Some varieties contain very little, and others, like kelp, kombu, and dilse, for example, can contain a lot, often way more than the safe upper limit for a very small portion. And since too much iodine can also lead to health problems, I recommend getting your iodine from an iodine supplement delivering a known quantity of iodine per drop as your best and most reliable option. As a pregnant mama, your daily iodine requirement is 220 micrograms per day, but since you're likely getting some iodine from your diet already, 150 micrograms per day from a supplement should be enough to help you meet your requirements. Against what some people think, calcium needs don't actually increase during pregnancy, but since a lot of women fail to meet their requirements, I thought I'd address this nutrient here as well. Your body uses calcium to build strong bones and teeth and maintain proper muscle function, nerve signaling, and heart health. So if you don't consume enough calcium during pregnancy, your body will leach calcium from your bones to support your baby's needs. And this can lead to your own bones becoming brittle over time, which increases your risk of fractures and also bone diseases like osteoporosis. Some vegans insist that their calcium requirements are much lower than the recommendations because their diet is much less acidic than a meat-containing diet. And for the moment, we need more research to actually confirm this. But what we do know is that vegans consuming too little calcium tend to have a higher risk of bone fractures. And for this reason, I encourage you to aim for the current recommendation of 1,000 milligrams of calcium per day. So there's not much point of talking about calcium without talking about vitamin D, since vitamin D is needed for your body to be able to absorb calcium in your gut. Vitamin D is also important for immunity, mood, memory, and muscle recovery, and can also help reduce the risk of preeclampsia and miscarriage. Few foods naturally contain vitamin D, but your body can make it from exposing your skin to the midday sun for around 15 minutes without wearing any sunscreen. But if you spend a little time outdoors, have a darker skin tone, or live in a northern latitude or a very cold climate, you might not be able to get enough vitamin D simply from exposing your skin to the sun. Plus, a lot of dermatologists warn against using sun as your sole source of vitamin D, since it's linked to skin aging and also a higher risk of skin cancer. So a vegan supplement providing at least 600 international units or 15 micrograms of vitamin D per day might be your best bet. Vitamin D can come in as a vitamin D2 or D3 form, and a vitamin D3 form appears to be best at raising blood vitamin D levels, and 3 brands that make this vegan D3 are VitaShine, VitaBay, and Iodine. Choline is another nutrient essential for the nervous system, and you can find it in all cell membranes, which means that a lot of plant foods contain small amounts of it. Now, it's important to get enough choline at all times, but especially in the first trimester to help your baby's nervous system form properly and reduce the risk of birth defects. Plant foods particularly rich in choline include peanuts, wheat germ, tofu, soy milk, quinoa, chickpeas, lentils, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts. But even if you're including these foods on the daily, it may still be difficult to reach the daily recommendation of 450 milligrams of choline per day, so a supplement might be handy here too. Now, no talk about nutrients important on a vegan pregnancy diet can be complete without mentioning vitamin B12. Some vegans seem to believe that as long as they eat enough of the right plant foods, they're not at risk of a vitamin B12 deficiency, and they don't really have to worry about this nutrient. And whenever I hear this, I cringe a little. Okay, I cringe a lot, because there's actually no scientific basis for this at all. While it's true that anyone can develop a B12 deficiency, whether vegan or not, there's plenty of evidence that vegans not supplementing with B12 are at particularly higher risk of deficiency. Do you take vitamin B12 supplements normally? I'm really curious to know, so let me know in the comments down below. Vitamin B12 is involved in so many functions in the body, and too little of it during pregnancy may put your baby at risk of miscarriage, preterm birth, or even birth defects. And that's without mentioning that when a baby born to a vegan mother is born with a vitamin B12 deficiency, it can definitely tarnish the reputation of a vegan diet. And it can make healthcare professionals wonder whether a vegan diet can be appropriate for periods of life like pregnancy or nursing or childhood, infancy. And all of this can be easily avoided by simply making sure that you get either fortified foods or a vitamin B12 supplement in your diet. Foods generally fortified in B12 include meat replacements, some plant milks, nutritional yeast, and some vegan spreads, for instance, Marmite. B12 is best absorbed in small doses, so when you're trying to get B12 from fortified foods, you should aim to get a total of 2.6 micrograms per day, but spread it out over at least 3 eating moments in the day. or you can simply add a vitamin B12 supplement to your diet. Now, I'm planning on making a video about supplements that can be useful during a vegan pregnancy, so if you're interested in that topic, keep an eye out for it. But in the meantime, if you want to learn more about what to eat on a vegan pregnancy diet, I encourage you to sign up for my free email course. By the end of it, you'll know exactly what to eat and which supplements to take to feel your very best throughout your pregnancy and help your little one grow as best as he or she can. You can access the course through a link in the description box below or directly from the Veggies and More website. That's it for today. If you have any questions, leave them down below. And with that said, until next time, ciao ciao!